Should I have just let my boyfriend go instead of burning everything down? I never imagined I would be the kind of person to send screenshots to a stranger's husband at midnight, but there I was, hands shaking, finger hovering over the send button, knowing that once I did this, there would be no going back. Looking back now, I realize that moment was not when everything fell apart. Everything had already been crumbling for weeks. I just had not wanted to see it. My boyfriend and I had been together for almost 3 years. We met through mutual friends at a birthday party, one of those situations where you end up talking in the kitchen for hours while everyone else is dancing in the living room. He was charming, funny, and he made me feel like I was the only person in the room. For the first year, everything felt easy. We had inside jokes, lazy Sunday mornings, and plans for the future that felt real. But somewhere around the 2-year mark, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. He stopped asking about my day. He would scroll through his phone during dinner, barely looking up when I tried to start a conversation. When I suggested we go out, he would sigh and say he was too tired. But then later that same night, he would leave to meet up with friends or grab food on his own. I told myself he was just stressed from work, that everyone goes through rough patches, that I needed to be patient. My sister noticed it before I did. She pulled me aside one night after a family dinner and asked if everything was okay. I said yes, of course. Why would anything be wrong? She gave me that look, the one older sisters give when they know you are lying to yourself. She told me he seemed distant, that he barely spoke to anyone all evening. I defended him. I always defended him. I said he was just going through a tough time, that he would come around. Then came the comments. Little things that stung, but were not quite bad enough to call out. He would say I was too sensitive, that I made everything into a bigger deal than it was. When I tried to talk about how I was feeling, he would accuse me of starting a fight. He started saying he needed more space, more time to himself. I gave it to him. I stopped asking where he was going, stopped checking in as much, stopped expecting him to show up the way he used to. It all came to a head one Friday night. I had been out with my best friend at a pottery class, something silly and fun to get my mind off everything. When I got home, he was sitting in the dark, just the glow of his phone lighting up his face. The apartment felt cold, emptier than usual. I asked if he was okay, and that is when he said it. He told me he needed a break, that being with me was draining, that he needed to figure out what freedom felt like again. I laughed. I actually laughed because it sounded so ridiculous, like something he had rehearsed from a self-help video. But he was serious. He stood up, grabbed a bag that was already packed, and walked out without even looking at me. No hug, no apology, just the door closing behind him. I sat there for what felt like hours, waiting for him to text and say he was sorry, that he was coming back. But nothing came. The next morning, my best friend called me in a panic. She asked if I had seen his social media. I had not. I had spent the night in a fog, trying to process what had just happened. She sent me screenshots, and my stomach dropped. There he was, posting from a hotel room with a view of the city skyline. Then a photo of a fancy dinner, 2 wine glasses, a dessert I knew he would never order, and then a video, just a few seconds long, of someone's hand with a chunky silver bracelet clinking against his glass. I knew that bracelet. I had seen it 100 times before, back when we first started dating, and I would scroll through his old photos, feeling insecure about his ex-girlfriend. She had a thing for statement jewelry, always wore these big, bold pieces that you could spot from a mile away. And that laugh in the background of the video, I knew that too. It was hers. I felt sick. Not just because he had lied, but because he had done it so publicly. Like he wanted me to see it. Like he wanted everyone to see it. I texted him, angry and hurt, asking if he was really that pathetic, if this was the freedom he had been talking about. He left me on read for hours. When he finally responded, he told me not to embarrass myself, that he was just catching up with an old friend, that I was being jealous and insecure. That was the moment I realized he was trying to make me feel crazy. He was rewriting the story in real time, acting like I was the problem, like I was the one overreacting. But I was not. I knew what I saw. I called my sister and she told me not to let him gaslight me, not to let him turn this around. She said he was deflecting because he knew he was wrong. Later that day, I got a message from one of his friends. He said he had seen my boyfriend at the hotel bar the night before, looking like he was having the time of his life. He asked if I was okay, and I appreciated that, but it still hurt. No one wanted to get involved, but everyone could see what was happening. I spent the weekend trying to make sense of it all. I kept replaying the last few months in my head, looking for signs I had missed. And then I realized this was not sudden. He had been pulling away for a while. He had been setting this up, maybe not consciously, but enough that when he finally left, he had somewhere to go. Someone to go to. His ex-girlfriend was married. I knew that because I had checked her social media before, back when I was feeling insecure early in our relationship. She had moved away, gotten married to some guy who seemed nice and normal. But apparently, none of that mattered. She was back in town, and they were acting like nothing had changed, like the last 3 years of my life meant nothing. I started gathering evidence. I know that sounds intense, but I needed to know I was not making this up. I went through his old posts, her old posts, looking for anything that confirmed what I already knew. And it was all there. The same bracelet and photos from years ago, the same perfume bottle, the one I remembered hating because it smelled like cheap candy, the same red nail polish she always wore. Everything matched. My best friend asked if I was sure, if maybe I was reading too much into it. But I was not. I knew what I was seeing. And then she asked if I wanted her to keep screenshots of everything, just in case. I said yes. I needed proof, not just for me, but for everyone who was going to hear his version of the story. That is when I started thinking about her husband. I did not know him well. We had met once at some group event, and he seemed like a genuinely nice person. Quiet, but kind. I wondered if he knew, if she had told him she was in town, if he had any idea what she was doing. And I realized he probably did not, because if he did, she would not be posting about it so openly. I felt conflicted. Part of me wanted to just walk away, to let them deal with their own mess. But another part of me, the part that was tired of being lied to and made to feel crazy, wanted him to know. I did not want to be the only one sitting in the dark while everyone else moved on like nothing had happened. I reached out to one of his friends, the one who had messaged me earlier. I asked if he had any way to contact her husband. He hesitated, said he did not want to get in the middle of it, but eventually he gave me an email address. He told me not to say it came from him, and I promised I would not. I sat down and wrote an email. It took me hours. I did not want to sound crazy or vindictive, but I also did not want to sugarcoat it. I attached the screenshots, the photos, the videos, everything I had. I wrote that I was sorry to be the one to tell him, but that I thought he deserved to know the truth. I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. For 2 days, I did not hear anything. My boyfriend kept posting, kept acting like everything was fine. He posted some vague quote about snakes and trust, and I knew it was about me. My sister said he was just mad that I was not begging for him back, that he had expected me to fall apart. But I was not going to give him that satisfaction. Then I got a response. It was short, just a few lines. Her husband asked if I was sure, how I knew it was really her. I understood. He did not want to believe it. I sent more screenshots, older photos from her account where she was wearing the same jewelry, the same perfume in the background. I told him I would not lie about something like this. He did not respond after that, but I noticed both of their accounts went private the next day. My sister said she was hiding. My best friend said maybe he had confronted her. I did not know, and honestly, I did not care. I had done what I needed to do. I had told the truth. Then my boyfriend called. Not a text, an actual phone call. I let it ring the first time, and the second. On the third try, I picked up. He was furious. He said I was trying to ruin his life, that I had no right to drag her husband into this. I told him I was just making sure everyone knew the truth. He called me petty, vindictive, obsessed. I laughed and told him to get his own life together before he started lecturing me about mine. He hung up. A few hours later, I got a message from his ex-girlfriend. It was long, all caps at the beginning, full of accusations and insults. She said I was jealous, that I could not handle the fact that he had chosen her. I replied with one line. I told her I was not jealous, I just did not like being lied to. She did not respond after that. The next week was a blur. I moved back into my apartment, cleaned out all of his things, changed the locks. I threw out the oat milk he always bought, the coffee grinder he left behind, the stupid hoodie that still smelled like him. I reclaimed my space. It felt good. He kept trying to reach out. Voicemails, emails, messages from new numbers. All of them said the same thing. He was sorry, he messed up, he wanted another chance. But I was done. I had spent too long being the understanding one, the one who gave second chances and made excuses. I was not going to do it anymore. One afternoon, he showed up at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw him standing there, hands in his pockets, looking lost. I opened the door just a crack and asked what he wanted. He said he just needed to talk, that he was sorry, that he had lost everything. I told him that was not my problem. He tried to step closer, but I blocked him. I said he needed to leave, and after a moment, he did. I got one last email from her husband. It just said thank you. I replied that I was sorry it had to be me who told him. He never wrote back, and I did not expect him to. It has been a few weeks now, and things are starting to feel normal again. Not good, not healed, but normal. I go to brunch with my best friend. I buy plants I will probably kill. I watch bad television and do not feel guilty about it. I am not angry anymore, just tired. Tired of the drama, tired of the lies, tired of feeling like I had to fight to be heard. I know some people will think I went too far, that I should have just let it go and moved on quietly, but I do not regret it. For too long, I let him make me feel small, like my feelings did not matter. I let him rewrite the story and make me the villain. I was not going to let that happen anymore. So, did I go too far when I exposed his affair? Maybe. But I would do it again. Because sometimes the only way to stop feeling powerless is to take the power back, even if it means blowing everything up in the process. And now, for the first time in months, I finally feel like I can breathe.